Welcome back to another edition of Six Borough Sports, your home for New York and South Florida sports. Before we get started, I'd like to thank everyone who tuned into the last video. It was my best video, so thank you so much. I will ask that you please like, comment, and subscribe. We didn't get a lot of subscribers, and if you subscribe to my channel, I can definitely continue to make more videos. It helps me out a lot. We got to talk about the New York Jets. I'm not going to talk a lot about the Giants today because they're just kind of there's nothing there. They're just not a talented team. They wasted a lot of opportunities and they should have won that game. But in the grand scheme of things, it's probably better that they lost because now they have a better chance of getting their quarterback. So I'm not really going to talk about the Giants. It worked out better that they lost, and Tracy had mostly a good game. You know, people say, "Oh, he Tracy had a good game, but he fumbled the ball, and that cost him the game." They wouldn't have been in the game without Tracy, and on top of it, it wasn't Tracy's fault that the defensive line was on the 3 yards into the backfield before he even got the ball. That was like ridiculous. So I'm not going to delve too deeply into that. I want the Giants to draft Cam Ward. I'm hoping they do. Um, I know follow the Miami Hurricanes, and I'm going to be biased, and I've seen him play in person. I went to the Canes Duke game. I just think he's the best his pocket presence and awareness is the best. I know he had that bad game against Georgia Tech, but he's still putting up crazy numbers, and he's very relaxed in the pocket and doesn't let turnovers phase him. So I want the Giants to get him. We'll see what happens. They're the second pick in the draft right now, under Jacksonville. Uh, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But like I said, I wanted to really talk about the Jets. What the hell was that? The offense was moving the ball at the beginning of the game, and then they kind of just stopped. And they got some field goals. They very dink and dunk. People not on the same page. Devontae Adams not on the same page as Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson needs to make crazy catches for them to win games, I guess. Um, but to score no touchdowns, like the Giants scored more touchdowns. That's why I'm not even that upset about the Giants. Um, they scored no touchdowns in a game that they really, really needed. Now the Cardinals are a good team. They're underratedly good. I mean, they were like the hot sleeper pick going into the off season, and they've been living up to it. They're number one in the NFC West, which is kind of crazy for how stacked the NFC West kind of looks right now. But and I'm not saying that they're stacked like they're all good teams. They're all like medium teams. There's no like really terrible team. Although Seattle might be pretty bad right now. They're playing pretty terribly, but yeah, Arizona just they took it to the Jets. They ran the ball down their throat, and then that play where Sauce Gardner was taken for a ride. Oh my God, he. They were saying it on WFAN. He needs to hit the gym. He needs to lift some weights. He needs to start eating his Wheaties. He needs to eat his Wheaties and like he needs to be eating protein like every day. He needs to put on some weight. That was ridiculous. Um, the Jets defense just looks completely different with Robert Saleh gone, and the offense pretty much looks the same. It's slightly effective, and then it doesn't. It's dink and dunk, and they don't score a lot of points. And their season isn't officially over, but it's a tall hill to climb, and to not show up, I think is really the thing. If they lost like the Dolphins did to the Cardinals at the last on a last second field goal, they'd be like, okay, we can. There's stuff to work with here, but I just don't see it with this team. There's nothing to work with. Rodgers is washed. The offensive line isn't as bad as it was last year, But Rodgers doesn't look good. People aren't on the same page, and the defense was just soft. Broken tackle after broken tackle. Um, the Jets' schedule again is pretty easy, but there is a team that's on there twice that I'm going to talk about after this that might not make it so easy and might change some things, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, if I'm the Jets, they can't like be sellers or whatever now because I think it's past the trade deadline. Correct me, and maybe that's not true, but they need to move on from Aaron Rodgers and just clean house and try to draft a quarterback and rebuild, get a new coach, get a new GM. They need a full rebuild. This is the experiment is over. Everybody go home. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Um, just a complete total disaster. There's pieces to work with. You need a good coach. So if they get a good coach and they, draft a quarterback, they have some infrastructure in place where they can fix this team. But funny enough, too, they had no touchdowns, but your boy uh, Mike Williams got a touchdown for the Steelers, the game-winning touchdown against the Commanders. That was pretty funny. I did hear that Mike Williams, the second he got to the Steelers, was very happy. Like he showed up at the facility with a huge smile on his face. Very glad that he left the Jets because now he's in first. He's probably going to the playoffs because it's Mike Tomlin team. They go to the playoffs every year. Uh, but I just don't. The Jets are done. They're cooked. I do not. They would have to win out, and they have shown nothing to win out. Now, I did mention a team on the Jets schedule that would potentially cause problems if they wanted to win out. And I kind of had it in the back of my head. I was like, I want the Jets kind of to win out, and this team would ruin it. And that is the Miami Dolphins, who looked, I don't want to say really good. They look good. Um, they looked more like they did last year. I don't like that Tua's throwing a pick and then trying to tackle a guy head first. That is a terrible look. But the Dolphins did what they needed to do. They went out to LA and they beat the Rams. Um, Calais Campbell like lived in the backfield. He had a whole like camping setup back there, and he just harassed Matt Stafford the entire game. He was all over the place. But this game and had three turnovers in a row. That was weird. It was a very weird game. It was kind of field goal heavy, and the Dolphins were marching down and up and down. And Johnny Smith had a good game. That was impressive. And no Odell, like just kind of non-existent. But um, I that was a good win for the Finns. They kind of stabilized their season. They could have won the last two games. They were decided by a field goal. So that's why like their record was like 2-6. And I was like, well, Tua was out for most of those games. And then on top of it, like they lost two close games against good teams. They're two teams that lead their divisions. They should have won the Cardinals game. The Dolphins do that. They lose some close games where it's like they just they get too comfortable and they don't put teams away sometimes. But looking at their schedule going forward, they have some pretty winnable games. They got the Raiders, then the Pats, then the Packers, then the Jets, then the Texans, then the Niners in Miami. So the Niners have to come out to Miami, then the Browns, and then the Jets again. This is a doable schedule. They need to win. They probably have one more loss that they can do in there. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs, but they have a chance, and they're just trending in the right direction. Unlike the Jets, I don't. I still. I wouldn't pick them to make the playoffs, but they have a shot. They legitimately have a shot. I do need Tua to protect himself better, which he refuses to do. That's very annoying, and I need to see that defense show up like that again. Also, I need to see a little bit more. They need to have some games where they just explode on a team and they just like drop like 40 points in some of those games to feel more comfortable with them potentially being a playoff team. But yeah, it's up in the air. They got some help with the Colts and Broncos losing. The Chargers, if they lost, it would have kept things closer, but Titans are really bad. Um, and the Chargers are just well coached right now. They just kind of grind teams out. Kind of pissed off with the Broncos. Like, yeah, it keeps the Dolphins in the hunt, but they should have won that game. That was that was ridiculous. I was like, oh great, the 72 Dolphins can they can pop champagne. Once again being the only undefeated team. But now the Chiefs needed to win because the NFL said so, and Taylor Swift said so. I think it has more to do with Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift might be some kind of deity that puts curses on people and teams and stuff. But yeah, I think the Miami Dolphins they could go on a little bit of a roll. I'm not picking them to go on a roll, but they have the capability. I mean, this is all assuming Tua gets healthy and the defense continues to play well like it did in that game. Well, that's it for this week. I'd like to remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, thank you so much for that last video. It was really great. I think it was almost up to 2,000 views. It's about the Yankees too, which I'm not even a Yankee fan, but I'm a Met fan. But it was great to see them lose. But I'd also please like to remind everyone to please like, comment, and subscribe. I need more subscribers for this channel to grow. And thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.